Here is the complete script for the relocation list. Most financial planners in the US will tell you that a comfortable retirement requires somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 a month. And for a good life in a major American or British city, they're probably not wrong. But that figure assumes you're staying put. It assumes the same rent, the same grocery bills, the same healthcare premiums, the same cost structure you've always known. Here's the reality. There are countries, right now, where $2,000 a month covers not just the basics but a genuinely comfortable life. Private healthcare. A well-located apartment. Regular meals out. Travel within the region. The kind of retirement most people in the West are working another decade to afford. The problem is that most lists stop at the same 5 or 6 names. Portugal. Spain. Maybe Costa Rica. The picks that have been circulating for years, and in some cases, the prices have quietly caught up to the hype. What this list does differently is rank 15 countries by overall value, factoring in cost of living, residency accessibility, climate, healthcare, and quality of life. And as you'll see, the top pick offers something the others genuinely cannot match. Keep in mind, the figures presented here are approximations meant to give you a sense of the cost of living. Always verify with up-to-date sources before making any decisions. Without further ado, let's get into the list. Number 15, Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon sits on the Atlantic edge of Europe, a hillside city of terracotta rooftops, trams, and a genuinely mild year-round climate. It has been one of the most discussed retirement destinations on the continent for the better part of a decade, and the infrastructure for English-speaking expats is mature and well-developed. EU residency access, world-class public and private healthcare, and a relaxed Southern European pace of life all remain genuine draws. The cost of living runs around $2,000 to $2,500 a month all in for a comfortable lifestyle, though a leaner setup is possible. Rent for a one-bedroom in the city center sits between $1,100 and $1,800 a month, and entry-level property starts around $220,000. For residency, the D7 passive income visa requires proof of roughly €870 per month in stable income, making it one of the more accessible EU pathways. On the downside, rents in Lisbon have surged more than 40% since 2020. The city is no longer the bargain it once was, and the tourist saturation in the historic center can wear on daily life faster than most travel content lets on. The NHR tax regime, which attracted a wave of foreign retirees in the early 2020s, closed to new applicants in 2024. Lisbon is still a fine choice, but it belongs at the bottom of this list for a reason. Number 14, Mérida, Yucatán, Mexico. Mérida is the capital of the Yucatán Peninsula, a colonial city of wide boulevards, pastel facades, and a cultural scene that punches well above its size. It consistently ranks as the safest large city in Mexico according to official statistics, which matters enormously for those doing their research. Private healthcare is excellent and genuinely affordable, and the food scene draws heavily on a distinctive Yucatecan tradition that sets it apart from other Mexican cities. Monthly costs run between $1,100 and $1,700 all in, with rent for a one-bedroom in the center coming in at $500 to $900. Entry-level property starts at around $80,000. For residency, Mexico's temporary resident visa requires demonstrating roughly $3,000 per month in income or around $50,000 in savings. The permanent resident threshold rises to approximately $5,000 per month or $200,000 in savings. The downside is the heat. April through September in Mérida means temperatures of 35 degrees Celsius and above, combined with high humidity, and that combination is not for everyone. It is worth spending time there in those months before committing. Also worth noting, residency income thresholds rose roughly 30% in 2023 and could continue to move. Number 13, Sliema and St. Julian's, Malta. Malta is a 27-kilometer island in the central Mediterranean, sitting between Sicily and the North African coast. English is an official language, the legal system is based on British common law, and EU and Schengen access are fully available through residency. For retirees who want a European base without learning a new language, Malta removes a significant layer of friction. The tax situation for retirees is genuinely favorable, with foreign-sourced pension income taxed only on what is remitted into Malta. Monthly costs sit at roughly $1,800 to $2,700 all in, with central one-bedroom rents between $1,100 and $1,700. Entry-level property starts at around $220,000. The Malta Permanent Residence Program, known as the MPRP, is the primary formal pathway, though it requires a government contribution of €150,000 or more plus a property purchase or rental commitment, making it considerably more expensive than simpler visa routes elsewhere on this list. That cost is the core downside. The MPRP is a stiff commitment relative to countries that simply ask for proof of income. Add to that the overdevelopment that has consumed much of the coastline, and the traffic that comes with too many cars on a very small island, and Malta earns its position here rather than higher up the ranking. Number 12, Medellín, Colombia. Medellín sits in a mountain valley in northwest Colombia at roughly 1,500 meters, and the elevation produces what locals call eternal spring, temperatures that hover between 16 and 26 degrees Celsius year-round, with no need for air conditioning or central heating. The city has invested heavily in its metro system, urban cable cars, and public spaces over the past 2 decades, and the transformation is visible. Private healthcare is modern, well-regarded, and costs a fraction of North American equivalents. Monthly costs run $900 to $1,500 all in, with central one-bedroom rents at $500 to $900. Entry-level property starts around $80,000. For residency, the M11 migrant pensioner visa requires a verified pension income of $900 per month, one of the lowest thresholds on this entire list. A digital nomad visa is also available at just $684 per month in verified income. The honest caveat, the tourist zone of El Poblado has seen rental prices surge more than 50% since 2022. Staying in or near El Poblado now costs noticeably more than the broader city average. Income inequality in Medellín is visible and real, and the altitude requires a brief adjustment period for some arrivals. Savvy expats have started looking at neighborhoods like Laurels and Envigado for better value within the same metro area. Number 11, Sofia, Bulgaria. Sofia is the capital of Bulgaria, sitting at the foot of Mount Vitosha in the Western Balkans. It joined the Schengen zone in March 2024, adding a significant layer of travel freedom for residents. Bulgaria operates a 10% flat income tax, the lowest rate in the entire European Union, and the country's cost of living remains among the lowest on the continent despite steady improvement in infrastructure and services. The tech sector has grown considerably, which has improved internet infrastructure and brought a younger international population into the city. Monthly costs run $800 to $1,300 all in, with central one-bedroom rents at $450 to $750. Entry-level property starts at around $70,000. For residency, a long-stay D visa is available via proof of pension income of roughly €1,800 per month, which then converts to a 1-year residence permit. The downsides are real. Bulgarian uses the Cyrillic alphabet, and navigating daily life outside expat pockets requires at least a basic effort to learn it. Winters in Sofia are genuinely cold, with temperatures frequently dropping to -5°C and below. Those expecting a Mediterranean lifestyle will want to look further down this list. What Sofia offers instead is European legal stability, low tax, and a cost of living that is remarkably difficult to beat within the EU. Number 10, San Juan, Rincón, and Dorado, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico occupies a unique position on this list. It is a U.S. territory, which means American citizens require no visa, no residency application, and no foreign banking arrangement. The currency is USD, the legal system is American, and U.S. mail delivery operates normally. For a retiree who wants a Caribbean lifestyle without the paperwork friction that comes with international relocation, that combination is genuinely hard to replicate. Monthly costs sit at roughly $1,700 to $2,700 all in, with central one-bedroom rents at $900 to $1,700. Entry-level property starts around $180,000. For higher earners, Act 60 offers a 4% corporate tax rate and 0% tax on Puerto Rico-sourced dividends and capital gains, provided the individual establishes genuine bona fide residency on the island. That Act 60 requirement is also the core downside. It demands 183 days per year on the island and requires purchasing a primary home, so it is not a paperwork shortcut. Puerto Rico's power grid remains unreliable in some areas, a legacy of Hurricane Maria in 2017 that has not been fully resolved. Hurricane risk more broadly is a factor to weigh carefully. At $1,700 on the lower end, it is also the priciest Caribbean-adjacent entry on this list. Number 9. Alicante and Costa Blanca, Spain. The Costa Blanca stretches along Spain's southeastern Mediterranean coast, with Alicante at its center. It records more than 320 sunny days a year, has a large and well-established British and Northern European expat community, and offers one of the cheapest Mediterranean coastal lifestyles available within the European Union. Alicante city itself has a functional airport, good rail connections, a historic old town, and a beach within walking distance of most central apartments. Monthly costs run $1,300 to $1,900 all in, with central one-bedroom rents at $700 to $1,100. Entry-level property starts at around $110,000, making it one of the more accessible property markets in this part of Europe. Residency is available through Spain's non-lucrative visa, which requires proof of sufficient passive income to support oneself without working in Spain. The downside is twofold. Certain pockets of the Costa Blanca, particularly around Benidorm and some northern resort strips, are heavily dominated by British tourism and can feel less like living in Spain and more like a packaged holiday extended indefinitely. Summer heat regularly exceeds 35 degrees Celsius along the coast, which is worth factoring in for those planning to be present year-round. Number 8. Central Valley, Costa Rica. The Central Valley of Costa Rica, anchored by towns like Athens, Grecia, and the upscale suburb of Escazú near the capital San Jose, offers what many retirees genuinely seek: spring-like temperatures year-round, political stability, and a long-established expat infrastructure. Costa Rica has no military and has operated as a stable democracy for decades, which is not a minor detail in a region where that track record is relatively rare. The Pensionado visa program has been attracting North American retirees for more than 40 years. Monthly costs run $1,500 to $2,300 all in, with central one-bedroom rents at $700 to $1,200. Entry-level property starts around $180,000. The Pensionado visa requires just $1,000 per month in verified pension income, one of the lowest formal retirement visa thresholds in the Western Hemisphere. Alternatively, the Rentista visa requires $2,500 per month in verified passive income. The honest downside: imported goods in Costa Rica are expensive. Cars, electronics, and anything that crosses a border carries heavy import duties, which can push lifestyle costs upward for those accustomed to purchasing North American goods. Infrastructure outside the San Jose metro area can also be rough, with road quality varying considerably once you move away from the Central Valley. Number 7. Montevideo, Uruguay. Montevideo is consistently ranked as the safest capital city in Latin America, and Uruguay as a whole holds the distinction at the country level. It is a genuine four-season destination with a temperate climate, a functional public healthcare system, and a reputation for political transparency that is unusual in the region. For retirees who want South America's lifestyle without South America's safety concerns, Uruguay is the default answer. Monthly costs run $1,500 to $2,300 all in, with central one-bedroom rents at $700 to $1,200. Entry-level property starts at $150,000. Residency is available through a passive income route, with approximately $1,500 per month typically considered sufficient on a case-by-case basis, as no legally fixed minimum exists. Crucially, new residents receive a tax holiday on foreign income lasting between 5 and 10 years, which is a significant financial advantage for pension and investment income earned abroad. The downside is cost relative to neighbors. Uruguay is noticeably more expensive than Argentina or Brazil, and while it earns that premium through stability and services, it means the budget goes less far here than in comparable Latin American destinations. Winters in Montevideo are damp and cold, and the country's small size limits domestic travel variety. Number 6. Punta Cana and Bávaro, Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic's eastern coast offers year-round Caribbean weather, direct flight connections to the US, Canada, and Europe, and one of the fastest pathways from residency to citizenship in the entire Americas. That citizenship timeline, roughly 2 years from residency approval, is a genuine differentiator for those thinking beyond simple relocation toward a second passport. The resort zone of Punta Cana and Bávaro provides a well-developed infrastructure base, and private healthcare in the area has improved noticeably in recent years. Monthly costs run $1,200 to $1,900 all in, with central one-bedroom rents at $600 to $1,100. Entry-level property starts at around $100,000. The pensionado visa requires $1,500 per month in pension income. The rentista visa requires $2,000 per month in passive income. That said, the resort zone bubble is real. Life within the Punta Cana and Bávaro tourist corridor is comfortable and familiar, but it can feel insulated from the broader country in a way that some retirees will appreciate and others will find limiting. Hurricane season runs from June through November, and the Dominican Republic sits squarely in the Atlantic hurricane belt. Number 5. Da Nang and Hoi An, Vietnam. Vietnam's central coast is one of the most affordable places on earth for a comfortable, modern lifestyle. Da Nang offers a mid-sized city with improving infrastructure, an international airport, and a long beach flanked by mountains. Hoi An, just 30 kilometers south, is a UNESCO-listed ancient town of lantern-lit streets, tailors, and riverside restaurants that charges a fraction of what equivalent towns in Europe would cost. Between the two, the daily quality of life available on a modest budget is genuinely hard to match anywhere else on this list. Monthly costs run $700 to $1,200 all in, with one-bedroom rents at just $400 to $700. Entry-level property starts at around $80,000. English is increasingly common in service industries and expat communities along the coast. Here is the significant caveat: Vietnam has no formal retirement visa. Those staying long-term must manage their status through tourist visas of 1 to 3 months, periodic border runs, or business and investor visa arrangements. It requires ongoing administrative attention and some creative planning. Additionally, foreigners cannot own land in Vietnam at all, only 50-year leasehold apartments in approved developments. For those comfortable navigating that framework, the value is extraordinary. For those who want clean, formal residency rights, the countries above and below on this list serve that need better. Number 4. Algarve, Portugal. The Algarve is Portugal's southern coast, a 150-kilometer stretch of limestone cliffs, golden beaches, and whitewashed towns. It records more than 300 sunny days a year, has a deeply established English-speaking expat community, and offers the same D7 passive income visa pathway as Lisbon, with the same requirement of roughly €870 per month in stable income. The difference from Lisbon at number 15 is that the Algarve, while not cheap by global standards, delivers considerably more space, quieter surroundings, and a lifestyle centered on outdoor living and coastal access. Monthly costs run $1,500 to $2,200 all in, with one-bedroom rents at $900 to $1,500. Entry-level property starts around $180,000. Towns like Lagos, Tavera, and Faro each offer a distinct character, from the lively western Algarve surf scene to the quieter, more traditional eastern strip near the Spanish border. The genuine downside here is seasonality. High-season tourism from June through August dramatically increases prices, reduces rental availability, and changes the atmosphere of even the quieter towns. Outside those months, rental supply can also contract as landlords prioritize short-term holiday lets. Forward planning is essential. Number 3. San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. San Miguel de Allende sits at 1,900 meters in central Mexico, and the altitude produces a climate that hovers between 18 and 25 degrees Celsius year-round, dry and clear, with little variation between seasons. The city's colonial centro is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a preserved grid of cobblestone streets, Baroque churches, and colored facades that has attracted artists, writers, and retirees from North America for more than 6 decades. The English-speaking expat community here is the deepest and most established of any Mexican city, with international medical care, English-language publications, and cultural events oriented around the foreign resident population. Monthly costs run $1,400 to $2,200 all in, with one-bedroom rents at $800 to $1,500. Entry-level property starts at around $200,000. Residency follows Mexico's standard temporary and permanent resident pathway, using the same income thresholds as Mérida at number 14. The downside is gentrification. Decades of expat demand have pushed property and rental prices meaningfully above what nearby Mexican cities charge, and the cultural authenticity that originally attracted foreign residents has been partially replaced by a curated version of itself. The altitude also requires adjustment for some arrivals. San Miguel earns its position near the top because for retirees who want a ready-made, English-friendly community with a remarkable physical setting, it delivers that more completely than almost anywhere else in Latin America. Number 2. Athens, Greece. Athens is one of the most underrated retirement destinations in the entire Mediterranean. The city offers deep cultural infrastructure, a genuine year-round social scene, easy access to the Greek islands, and a tax regime that is among the most compelling in Europe for foreign pension income. The 7% flat tax on foreign-sourced pensions, available for 15 years to those who transfer their tax residency to Greece, represents a straightforward financial advantage that comparatively few retirees are acting on in 2026. Monthly costs run $1,200 to $1,800 all in, with central one-bedroom rents at $600 to $1,000. Entry-level property starts at around $120,000, well below equivalent Mediterranean capitals. The Financially Independent Person Visa, known as the FIP, requires €3,500 per month in income. After 7 years of legal residency, an EU passport pathway opens. The real downside is Greece's bureaucracy, which is genuinely among the most cumbersome in Europe. Processing times, document requirements, and the general pace of official administration require patience and, ideally, a local lawyer. Greek is required for most interactions outside tourist districts, and the golden visa property threshold was raised to €800,000 in prime areas in 2024, meaning the investment route into residency is no longer a viable budget option. The FIP visa remains the practical path. Athens sits at number 2 because, for the right retiree, it combines European legal stability, a compelling tax incentive, and a cost of living that makes the $2,000 budget feel genuinely comfortable. Number 1. Cebu and Dumaguete, Philippines. The Philippines takes the top position on this list for one simple reason: the combination of cost, language, residency accessibility, and climate produces a retirement package that nothing else on this list can fully replicate at the $2,000 budget level. English is an official language throughout the country, spoken natively by the vast majority of the population. Cebu is a mid-sized city with modern hospitals, shopping infrastructure, a functioning international airport, and a beach culture that extends in all directions along the coast. Dumaguete, a university town on the island of Negros Oriental, offers a quieter, more intimate setting with a long-established expat community and a cost of living that drops even below Cebu's already low baseline. Monthly costs run $800 to $1,300 all in. That figure covers a comfortable lifestyle, not a bare-bones one. One-bedroom rents run $350 to $700, and that lower end is a real number in areas outside the tourist core. Entry-level property starts at around $70,000 for condominium units. The residency program is called the Special Resident Retirees Visa, or SRV. It is available from age 35 upward, and the deposit requirement sits at just $10,000 to $20,000 depending on the applicant's age and whether they require a pension. Critically, that deposit is retained, not consumed. It sits in a designated account and can be used for approved investments within the Philippines. By the standards of comparable formal retirement visa programs globally, this is one of the most genuinely accessible thresholds in existence. The downsides are real and should not be glossed over. Foreigners cannot own land in the Philippines, only condominium units in buildings where foreign ownership is below 40% of total floor area. Typhoon season runs from June through November, and the central and eastern Visayas region receives direct hits in some years. Infrastructure outside Metro Cebu and the main urban centers can be rough, with road quality and power reliability varying considerably by island and municipality. But for a retiree operating on $2,000 a month who wants English as the daily language, a formal and low-cost visa structure, warm weather, coastal access, and a lifestyle that genuinely feels abundant rather than frugal, the Philippines offers all of that simultaneously. No other country on this list does all 5 things at once. And there you have it. 15 countries where retiring on $2,000 a month is not just possible but genuinely comfortable in 2026. From Lisbon's Atlantic charm at the bottom of the list to the Philippines' remarkable combination of value and accessibility at the top, the options are more varied and more practical than most retirement planning conversations acknowledge. If you found this useful, consider subscribing. We cover destinations like this every week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.